So it's looking like Microsoft might have just did the ultimate Uno reverse card on PlayStation. Now, for those of you, let's catch up. Let's catch up a little bit. All right, I know I've been away for a little bit, but let's catch up. Microsoft's trying to buy Activision and Blizzard and King. And Sony don't want them to do it because clearly that's a lot of power to be given to one company. So what are they doing? They're doing everything in their power to look as weak as possible, that without Call of Duty they can't compete. So, what does Microsoft do? Well, they've came out multiple times, trying to downplay Call of Duty to a point, and it's looking like they've just gotten to the point where they're like, look, PlayStation might actually derail this train. And I think everyone, for the most part, can understand that that's not a good thing. So Phil Spencer has come out and he has made a statement on Twitter, and I think it's very, very interesting. Let's get on with the statement. Phil Spencer tweeted on December 6th at 11:12 p.m. Now keep in mind that is pretty late for a tweet like this. I want to point that out right now. Most of the time you're not going to see people tweeting, especially people like Phil Spencer, an executive at a company. They're not normally waiting that late, especially considering Microsoft and Xbox is, home turf is the United States. Now, he is probably on the West Coast, so it's probably a little bit, earlier than it is here, but that's still pretty early. Even on the West Coast, that's what, 9, 10-ish? But anyway, Phil Spencer said Microsoft has entered into a 10-year commitment to Call of Duty. To Nintendo, following the merger of Microsoft and Activision Blizzard King. Microsoft is committed to helping bring more games and more however they choose to play. So he's pretty much coming out there and he's saying, look, once this deal is done, we are committed to bringing Call of Duty to Nintendo platforms. So that means the Switch, whatever is after the Switch. I'm assuming Phil Spencer knows whatever's after the Switch. And then he follows up with another tweet and says, I'm also pleased to confirm that Microsoft has committed to continue the offer Call of Duty to Steam simultaneously to Xbox after we close the merger with Activision, Blizzard, and King. Now, one thing I want to point out here is it's weird that Phil Spencer is even talking on the behalf of Blizzard and Activision and King, considering they haven't bought the company yet. For those of you that know, when they bought Bethesda, they didn't really make too many public statements because they didn't own Bethesda. But it's interesting here, they are coming full out and saying, look, they're kind of like talking like they already bought it. Look, we're going to buy this company and we want to tell you what our commitments are. And I think it's interesting here because what this has done is it has thrown a huge wrench. Now, I will say, Jim Dance Move Ryans has done a fantastic job with spinning the narrative so much where it even looked like to me that this deal might get blocked and Microsoft might actually have to go to court to fight it. But what this shows is like, look, we're working with Nintendo, we're working with Steam, and we're trying to work with PlayStation, but they're the ones that are being unreasonable. They are simultaneously getting more of that positive response by bringing stuff to Nintendo and attacking PlayStation's stance in general, because PlayStation's stance is, look, we can't compete unless this deal doesn't go through. But Nintendo's like, look, just bring the game to our platform. It's not on Steam. Steam's saying, look, bring the game to our platform. So now it's putting this like weird thing where it's like, are we really going to deny this deal when it's already on the platform of the person complaining, which is PlayStation? They own the marketing rights, so clearly it's on it. Are we really going to deny this deal when approving it is not only going to keep that game on that PlayStation platform, which Microsoft has said multiple times they were willing to have the conversation. Obviously, we have to actually see the conversation happen. But if the deal is passed through, not only is it going to go to those platforms that it's already on, it's going to be on in the future, it's going to go on platforms that it's not on. For instance, like the Nintendo Switch, Steam. For the longest time, Blizzard and Activision games have been on Battle.net. Now, I'm a little disappointed in that one because I actually felt like they could have used Battle.net as a good center point for Game Pass. Now they can still do that because I feel like the Game Pass app is isn't the greatest. But what they could have done, in my opinion, is they could have combined Game Pass with the Battle.net app, and that would have been a good center point to actually use Battle.net. But I do feel like on the PC market, it's a little bit different. Now, you can pull that off on the console market because I think a lot of people on console, they're more accepting to going to other platforms, which, you have to buy platforms on consoles. You can't just download an app on PC. But it seems like a lot of the PC fanboys, like not even fanboys in general, just PC fans, they want all their stuff in Steam. And I think Microsoft was probably already going to release their stuff on Steam. I don't really see them holding those games back because they did open Bethesda games back up to Steam, because for those of you that knew, Bethesda went to their own launcher for a while. So it's really interesting that, I think Phil Spencer went out and he said stuff he was originally always going to do, but he made it more public. And it's like I said, this is 11:12 at night. It's not something you normally get. And most of the time when you get these announcements, it's, on a Monday, early in the morning, because they want to get that whole day of good news. Keep in mind, Microsoft just had a really bad thing with the $70 price tag. Now, sure, that doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people, because I think a lot of the Xbox consumer base is on Game Pass. The hardcore base that would actually complain about this. So that didn't really bother them too much. But now, a day later, they announced that, we're going to $70 and we're bringing those games to Nintendo and Steam. I think it's genius. I think this is definitely a reactive move. They're trying to make sure that they look appealing as possible because they want this deal to go through. And it's going to be interesting to see how Sony responds to this, because Sony can no longer just come out there and say we can't compete. If you can't compete, how is Steam competing? How is Nintendo competing? And they didn't even have the damn game. So how are you not competing? And I think that's going to be the ultimate goal, to see exactly how Sony responds to this news. Might take them a couple days. I'll keep you guys updated, man. But this is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace.